Good morning, everyone. Steve here. Welcome to this edition of Monday Morning Musing, where we are working our way through Matthew 18. And we are at one of the pivotal verses in the whole chapter today. And I'm just going to stay on it for the whole session today. Verse 20. Because it's one of those passages that everybody takes out of context, everybody quotes, abuses, and misuses this passage. For wherever two or three are gathered, there I am in the midst. Now, typically that verse is used for a consolation that, man, if we even have two people together to pray, Jesus' presence is guaranteed. Man, if we have three people, you don't have to have a big assembly. You just gather the saints together and Jesus is present. What is the context of this verse? What's the context of the whole chapter? Where two or three of you are gathered together, for what? A church meeting? A worship service? A sing-song? A praise song? An intercessory meeting? What is he talking about? Where's this verse 20 coming from? It's coming from verses 1 through 19. It's coming from what we just left in the last message about the delegated authority of the community to govern itself for shalom and well-being. And here's what he's saying. It's got nothing to do with the sweet presence of Jesus as we sing praise songs. Wherever there are even two or three of you who are trying to live this way, who are trying to be peacemakers, working in the community for shalom, wherever there is just even two or three of you who would take this seriously, if there's even two or three of you in Corinth who will work this way, who will live this way, who are concerned about the other and concerned about reconciliation and concerned about releasing forgiveness so that the community might be whole and well and have no breach. If two or three of you will work at it, I will be in the midst. That is how important this passage is. That's how important what Matthew 18 has been about and is about. He doesn't say where two or three of you are gathered and singing praise choruses, my presence is going to come and fill the room and give you, a Jesus tingle. And in John's gospel says that whoever obeys my commands, my Father and I will manifest to them. And that word manifest means to make known to the five senses, linked with obedience, transformed behavior, not your buzz in the worship meeting. And here, part of transformed behavior is living together as a new type of species of human. And a rock bottom, deeply anchored, regularly practiced. I'm running out of adjectives. Passionately adhered to, rigorously implementing the hard work of peacemaking. My presence will be in the midst. Dear ones, can you even begin to imagine the change in our families, our churches, our relationships, our culture, if we believe this or even tried it. It's so sad that so many of you can spend your whole Christian life and never see this work in reality. Like I said, I've only seen it twice in 50 years. Precious as they were, precious. So this verse, now look, if you want to argue about, listen, there are only a half a dozen, 5 or 6 references to the presence of the Lord in the New Testament, and none of them, 0, 0, 0, nada, nothing, none of them have to do with anything about praise and worship. I cover that in my book on praise and worship. We have an entire theology of the manifest presence of God based on Old Testament typology. I'll put it to you this way. Do you think there was any anointing in Paul's ministry when he didn't have a praise and worship team and a smoke machine for the first 45 minutes? Could there be any anointing without the song service? His presence, his commitment to the ecclesia, his commitment to the believer, his commitment to the believer who's committed to being a peacemaker is so cosmic that this verse says that the resurrected God-man will be present. And it ties into earlier on in verse 5 when he talks about the little children and, hey, their angels are always before my face. Look at, if you act this way, there is an intimacy that you will have with me that you don't get any other way. This will never work. Where money or power, prestige, and position are the ruling parameters. Success, fame, admiration, publicity, glory. It'll never work. And it really begs the question. And listen, I'm in my 49th year of charismatic Christianity. And I really question about 95% of what goes on in charismatic meetings about whether that God's involved in any of it. I'm going to make allowance because I've experienced the real thing on rare occasions. But the antics and the gymnastics that we go through to have a psychic buzz on Sunday while we gossip, hate, slander, and hate our enemies and are unforgiving the rest of the week is nonsense. And we're going to see in the next couple of episodes that it is all linked together with the issue of forgiveness, not how hot the praise and worship team is. So you want more of Jesus in your life? You want the presence of God? Try being serious about being a peacemaker. There's a blessing for those who labor at it. And that blessing is the resurrected God-man promises to endorse your judgments and to be with you in the middle of your adjudications. Powerful, hopeful, transformative. See you next time.